What's up, everybody? Andrew with NQS Performance Outdoors coming to you from the basement workshop today. This is the first video of 2019, you guys. What a roller coaster 2018 was. Took a job down in Florida, moved all the way down there, ended up taking a different position back up here in Wisconsin and coming all the way back. So 2 cross-country moves in a year, made for one heck of a roller coaster. But things are starting to smooth out a little bit. Hopefully that means more great content for you guys in 2019. 2018 ended kind of in limbo. We had good solid ice. We got a couple of good ice fishing videos made there at the end of the year, and then we got a bunch of rain and warm weather that blew all our ice out. So I actually finished up New Year's Eve open water fishing with a buddy of mine. I didn't film that bite. It wasn't my bite to share, so kind of had to leave you guys in the dark on that one. We did go to Lake Geneva and catch a few walleyes, but again, that was his deal, so I didn't really feel comfortable putting it out on YouTube for everybody to see. My shop right now, it's a disaster, you guys. I've been building rods, painting jigs, building an ice shack. You name it, it's been going on down here. I really need to take some time and get this place cleaned up and get it reorganized and start the year off right. With that said, I want to take a quick look at this shack that I ended up buying, you guys. I looked at 3 different models really closely, and we'll look at the one I ended up purchasing here in just a minute. The 3 that I looked at were the Clam Kenai Pro Thermal, the Eskimo Wide One Inferno, and the Otter Hideout. For me, it came down to features and budget combined. I was able to rule the Clam Kenai out immediately. I just didn't like the way the chair rode on the 2 metal rails in the middle of the sled. I felt like that rendered a bunch of the sled kind of useless in my opinion. So it came down to the Eskimo and the Otter. For me, like I said, I'm self-funded. I don't have any sponsors. I'm a weekend warrior. I got to try to stretch my dollar. So that pushed me into the Eskimo Wide One for a couple of reasons. One, it was $150 cheaper than the Otter. I thought both shacks were really great. I actually like the Otter a little bit better. With that said, the $150 I just thought I could put to better use elsewhere. So we'll flip this camera around. We'll take a closer look at the Wide One Inferno. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. For those of you that aren't, hopefully this can help you see what the features and the benefits might be if you're struggling with the same decision that I had to make. So let's flip this thing around, take a look at what we've got here. Alright, so you can see I got this bad boy set up down here in my basement workshop. It's taking up a fair amount of space here in the shop. This particular shack has a 600 denier insulated tent. I had been fishing out of an older Clam Kenai Pro, which was only 300, so half the thickness. One of the problems in my older Clam was honestly condensation, and I had to run a heater in there a lot because it was not insulated, and that's where the condensation was stemming from. So I knew this time I definitely wanted to go to a thermal top. One of the things that's going to jump right out at you guys here when I open up this door, you're going to see 15 square feet of fishable area. So let me unzip this real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, hopefully it's not too dark in here and you can still see, but I am sitting in the chair. I've got a full 4 feet before I get to the front of this spreader bar. It's an adjustable spreader bar. You push it open and it spreads the floor way out. One thing that's really great about this shack, I think, too, is I got a couple of younger kids, 4 and 9, and if I do find myself out on the ice with the boys, I think I could drill a hole here and another hole over here so I could fish this corner. I could set my little guy on a bucket right here and he could fish the hole that's right next to my feet. So if I need to get the little ones out of the wind and into the warmth, I think this is going to work out nicely for that. So that was a really great feature as far as I was concerned. Just having the extra fishable area was a big deal to me. So that's the number one thing that pushed me in this direction of this shack, aside from the price point. Again, I didn't feel like I could justify an extra $150 on the Otter, as nice a shack as that was. With that said, let's talk about maybe what some of the limitations of this shack might be. I think my biggest issue with this shack is going to be The ceiling is relatively low. I'm a little worried about banging hook sets off the roof, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful with that. I felt like the Otter was a bit taller, but again, I think with the features that I got for the money I spent, they did pretty well here. I'm going to actually fold this back, and we're going to take a look at the sled itself and some of the other features of this shack. So looking at the shack from out in front of it, you can see that I'm able to leave those spreader bars open up here, and I'm able to kind of lock the shaft into a wind block position, which is really great on those days if it's relatively warm out but you just want to get out of the wind a little bit, or if you're fishing with buddies and want to be able to have a conversation without yelling. It'll be nice for that. The seat right here, you guys, is great. It's comfortable. I'm not sure if it's a benefit or a deterrent of this particular unit. It's really comfortable, like I said, but it does add a good amount of weight because you can see right here it's bolted in with two heavy-duty metal brackets. I haven't fully decided if the seat is going to stay or if the seat is going to go. Just because of the weight factor, one of the deals with these portable flips is to try and stay mobile. I think as this one sits, it's weighing in at about 68 or 70 pounds. So in the one-man portable category, it's on the heavy side for sure. I could save a bunch of weight if I take the chair out. That's something I'm going to think about over time. I haven't really decided what I want to do there. One nice thing about the chair, though, is it has this mesh right down here. I just threw a screwdriver in there just for an example, but it's a place to throw some gear. Mainly for me, I think it's going to be great because a lot of times I take my glove off. They end up rolling around in the back of the sled. I can't find them when I need them. So for me, I'll be able to put maybe a little tackle box, my gloves, things like that, right in that little area there. I'm going to try to get you guys a little closer look at the sled here too. Alright, so there's the sled, you guys. One thing you're going to notice there is I definitely put a Hyfax kit on the bottom of it. I think that's super important, you guys. It saves a lot of wear and tear on the sled. I think one of the big price differences, honestly, between the Otter and the Eskimo is in the tub. I know that Otter roto-molds their sleds, so they're a lot heavier duty sled than what you're getting with the Eskimo. With that said, I feel like this is actually a pretty decent sled compared to some of the Frables and stuff that I've looked at over the years. I actually had an old Frable Commando and I wore holes in the bottom of it because I didn't put a Hyfax kit on it. So definitely, even if you go with the Otter, I would recommend spending the extra 40 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever it might be, to put the Hyfax kit on the bottom. One thing I will tell you about Eskimo, though, however, versus Otter, Otter pre-drills their kits. Eskimo does not. So you're going to spend a few extra minutes just measuring things out and getting things pre-drilled, but not too big a deal. It's a quick, easy install. I would definitely recommend you do that install prior to building the shack, though. It's going to be a lot more difficult of a job if you put that thing on after the fact. So that's the first thing I did, is I put the Hyfax kit on before I ever built anything else. It's a little dark over there in the corner. I'm going to use my cell phone light, hopefully, to show you guys the way this tent attaches to the shack. That's something you guys should probably definitely see. Hopefully this is going to show up and not make a glare, but you can see right in here, you guys, this thing is held on by this black piece of trim. You can see where it stops at the fabric there. That is a bear to put on, you guys. That's probably the lengthiest part of building the actual sled, is getting the tent affixed, but it's also really important. You want your tent to be on nice and even, and you don't want it to be up off the ground. So take your time with that part. An extra set of hands would definitely help. I'll try to zoom in on it up here too a little bit, just so you guys can see what it looks like, because it's the same process to hold that little basket on. Hopefully I'm not making too much shadow or too much glare, but there you can kind of see that piece of black trim. It ends right in there. But again, it folds over the lip and it pinches the material, and then it's just held on with screws. But yeah, putting that tent on is absolutely a process. I would say start to finish, I probably spent 2.5 to 3 hours building this shack. I take my time, though. I mean, you could probably knock it out in an hour and a half if you're really in a rush. Like I said, we don't have any ice or any real fishable water. My boat's put away. I did get out with my buddy, like I said, but for the most part, we're just kind of stuck in limbo, so I just took my time. Didn't really rush through anything, but putting that trim kit on the bottom is a bear. That's the biggest part of the project for sure. An extra set of hands would even be a great idea. The last thing we'll talk about is the rope. Throw that rope in the garbage, you guys. That's the rope that it comes with. I think it's about 7 or 8 feet long. You can see it's really thin diameter. Just not much to pull with. I like a much longer rope because I'm going to be dragging by hand. I don't have my ATV. I sold that before I moved to Florida, so I will be pulling out with manpower instead of horsepower, so I'm definitely going to invest in a different rope. Alright, you guys, that's going to about do it for our look at the Eskimo Wide One Inferno. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit the bell button so you get notified when I upload new videos. Leave some comments in the feedback below, guys. I want to know what you're fishing out of this winter. And also let me know if there's any videos you'd like to see here in the near future. We'll try to get those made for you. I appreciate all the support we had in 2018. We're going to try and take it to the next level in 2019, get a much more steady flow of content for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, everybody, tight lines.